I want to tell you a story about Mark Twain. Anyone know who Mark Twain is? You know Mark Twain? Mark Twain? Whoever went to school, you must have read Huckleberry Finn. What's the other one? Tom Sawyer. What's it?
Tom Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer, okay. These famous American classics, right? So, I think his name was Samuel Clemens. No, was he Jewish? He wasn't Jewish, okay. He said something about Jews. He said they don't make any sense, the Jews, how they could still be around. But Lamaisa, like any author, Mark Twain used to get a lot of letters, feedback about what he wrote. You know, one time I got an email, something I wrote, the guy said, "It's quite clear from what you wrote that you were dropped on your head as a young child, and you're brain damaged." Okay. I wrote back to him, "Thank you for your comments, taking the time to write to me. Should be gesund." And he wrote me back another even more nasty letter. In any event, everybody who writes gets critical letters because you can't make everybody happy, right? So Mark Twain was also getting very critical letters, and what would he do? He would write back. They didn't have email in those days, you know, it was before email and text messages. So he'd write back a very critical letter. He would put in a pile for his wife to send, and she would take them and throw them in the garbage. Yeah, and that's a good wife. That's a good wife, because you know, had he sent those letters, he would have had a lot of enemies. A person doesn't need enemies in life. You know, that's the thing. So this is a very important point. We said an isha shares osir rotzen bayil, but what's rotzen bayil? What's rotzen bayil? What does her husband really want? Yeah. Now here we get to a very important point. We start off by saying, isn't that chauvinist that a woman should all the time be listening to her husband? Like, you know, who says he's right? Right. So there's a very, very important, netziv, right, on the pasuk in beginning of Bereshis of Ezer Kenegdo, also Ezer Kenegdo, right? It's in Beis Yud Ches. So Ezer Kenegdo, what's Ezer Kenegdo? The Netziv says she's an Ezer when she's Kenegdo. If your wife is a yes woman, yeah, such a yes man, but a yes woman, she just says yes to everything you said. That's she's an Ezer when she's Kenegdo, right? When she goes against you, sometimes. So you see here, sometimes doing the husband's ratzon means, yeah, not doing what he says, yeah, or being mechaven him, directing him to the right way of thinking, right? That's what he says. And the Netziv says, right, if the husband's really angry and she tells him to do something and she does it, right? So when he cools off, he's going to be very upset. He might be happy when he's angry. Cools off and be very upset. So the point here is that she's an Ezer when she's Kenegdo, sometimes, right? Okay. And generally speaking, we hope that that's not the case. But when the husband's will is what the Torah really wants, then she's really an Ezer. And that's what we see by On ben Peles, right? Korach's wife. Korach's wife said, you know, look, On, you know, you're not going to get anything by siding with Korach. He's just going to take all the honor for himself. And she convinced him to get out of it. So this is a really important point. To be an Ezer Kenegdo, to do the ratzon of your husband, it means knowing what the husband's ratzon really is. What does he really want? You know, really, what does he really want? And trying to understand that. And that's not always easy because men and women think very, very differently. Right? And I thought this is actually, you see that this is a Gemara. The Gemara in Bava Basra says that if the husband's not willing to give a get, you have to beat him up until he's willing. It says Rotzani. And the Rambam explains that's really his Rotzan. What the Torah wants, that's really his Rotzan. So that's the goal. A woman's goal is to get to the husband's really Rotzan and to do it. And then there'll be shalom between them. Amen. Kain Rotzan. Yeah. Right.